let's go over your assignment 1.12. This is where you designed your own space mission, and it's done on these 4 parts, these 4 pages that you have either printed or picked up a copy from the school or done on your own paper. You got to make sure you have all 4 parts for it to be successful. Okay, we'll go through them one by one and kind of explain how each page, each important part, is necessary to creating a successful mission that you have designed and submitted to NASA for its approval. All right, so we're going to go through these one by one, but as again, to reinforce how to succeed on this assignment, you got to make sure you have printed it off of Canvas, assignment 1.1, 1.12, or pick up a hard copy at school. Okay, so these hard copies are at the front entrance of the school. Okay, or if you can't make it to school, can't print it at home, take a piece of paper, open it up on your computer, and just write down all the answers on your own. All right, part 1. This is where you decide what your mission is going to be called, where you're going. Are you taking people with you? And it starts with a name. This is a name of your own choosing. Come up with something that fits your mission, where you're going. I will choose Minos, a creature of Greek legend, Minos, the son of Europa, which happens to be where I would like to go. It's going to be an unmanned mission, meaning I won't be taking people, just sending my robot to do a little exploring. Okay, so 0 people, and I fill in those blanks. Where am I going? This moon of Jupiter is Europa. So Jupiter's moon, Europa, that's my choice. You have to choose your own. Go to Mars, go to the moon, go stay in orbit around the Earth, your choice. Specifically, I'm going to send this probe to the ice cap on top of that huge ocean underneath the surface of Europa. Now I have to pick a primary mission. What am I going to be doing there? One primary mission, please. What I want to do is visit Jupiter, the moon Europa, specifically to search for life. So I'll put a check mark under the blank, search for life. That's where I want to go. That's my purpose in going to Europa. Secondary mission, I want my probe to do more than just search for life. I want it to sample the ocean. That's just something I came up with. And I also want it to take pictures. So if life in the oceans there is like an octopus or like a shark or like something we can't even imagine, I want pictures. I want to see what it looks like. So it's looking for life. I want it to sample the water and send back photographs of whatever it finds. Okay. Specialties, well, this thing is going to have to be able to swim, so I will make it a submarine. That is its special design for this thing. It's a submarine. Okay. Now, travel and time frame. Wow, it's going to take a long time to get to Jupiter. Years. But how many years? I either have to look that up online, or when you went to Canvas and looked at number 1.11, one of the questions is, where am I going? And it gives an answer to the number of how long it'll take. So make sure you have 1.11 finished. Is there a lander? Yes. And is there already equipment in place in Europa? No. So I check mark those 2. Then I'm looking at number 9. This comes in very important later on. So am I going to Earth or to the moon or Venus, Mars, or an asteroid, or Mercury, Jupiter, or Saturn? I'm going to Jupiter. So I'm going to put a big box around the section going to Jupiter, because that's the part I care about. The rest of them are interesting and not part of my mission. All right. Remember number 9. It has trajectory information, like the path your ship takes through space. That's its trajectory. And also the vehicle type. So I'm going to make a note of the trajectory, its path through space, at this paper. and then the type of rocket that has to lift it off the ground. So that's important. In my case, it's unmanned. Say the letter U on your paper. M means manned. I'm not sending people. Mine is unmanned, so I'm going to make a note of unmanned, underline heavy lift. That's a certain type of rocket, and I'm going to scratch through super heavy. We don't need a super heavy because that's not my mission. So I know it's gravity assist, heavy lift rocket. That's handy information. All right. At the end, I need to pick where I'm going to launch from. I'll pick Cape Canaveral, Florida. That's where a lot of space launches go. So I'll just put an X mark under Cape Canaveral. Am I launching from orbit around the Earth? No, I'm launching from the ground. So I'll just put an X through that part and don't worry about it. All right. Now I got to make sure everything is finished on this page. Yep, looks like everything's good. And making note of number 9 because that comes in handy later. All right, time to move forward to part 2. Now I'm considering the mission pack. In this case, it's my submarine itself. What am I using to gather information? So I'm focusing on my rover, my probe, my landing, whatever it is I'm doing with my mission. In this case, my submarine. Okay, so I'm looking back at my primary mission. That's the first thing at the top of this page. Take a look at the top. State your primary mission. Search for life on Europa's oceans. And I just put it down as search for life on Europa. That's my primary mission. Now, with that in mind, I know I need a submarine, okay? And I know it's going to have some abilities. So I'm going to make some marks, some check marks next to systems I absolutely need. It's an unmanned rover, not the wheeled kind, but with a propeller. It needs a high-resolution camera because I want to take pictures. It needs a science pack because I want it to be able to swim and sample the water in the ocean. Doesn't need a greenhouse or a habitat or none of that, but it does need a power supply. So I'm going to check mark this RTG. It's like a little nuclear power pack. Then I'm going to note the costs of each item. A little underline all the costs because I only need one power pack. Okay. Then I'm going to look at all those numbers and add them up together. So 70 million and 15 million and 5 million and 6, add all that up and I come up to 101. My budget was 100 million. I've barely gone above it. So did I make it under budget? No, but I'm close. So I'm going to put the word close. Very close to my budget. Likely that would be approved, and that's okay. First section's complete. Let's look at number 3. This is where I'm going to sketch my primary system. I'm going to show the environment. That's the surface of the ice. I'm going to show a hole that got melted or cut into the ice for my submarine to swim around the oceans of Europa. I'm going to draw a submarine. I'm going to put fins on my submarine so it can steer itself through the water. This is obviously very rough and very quick. My final version of this to turn in for a grade would be much better quality. It's got a propeller on the back to push it through the water. It's got fins to steer. I'm going to show that motion in the water. I'm going to add some fins on the side, maybe a logo or a picture or two. Put some cameras in the nose so it can take pictures of whatever it sees. And then I'm going to show the environment, space above, maybe the ripples of the ocean that it's swimming through, so you know it's diving underwater. Make absolutely sure you create a good quality picture. Above, it is still tethered under control of the ship that landed it, the starship that brought it there, so it can send that information back to Earth. That's just my idea of what a submarine would look like, searching for life in the oceans of Europa. Now I have to set some success criteria. This section is important. Do I know if I succeeded or not on this entire mission? I'll make sure I do that right. So fill in that part too. Okay? All right, let's move on to part 4. part three. This is your launch vehicle, your rocket that has to take off from the ground. So back on page one, I noticed that it needs a vehicle type, and I noticed mine was heavy lift. So I'm going to circle heavy, okay? And I've got some choices of rockets to put. It could be Delta IV Heavy, or SpaceX Falcon Heavy, or Starship. I'm a fan of Starship over the Atlas V, so I'm going to circle Starship. It's very cool, exciting technology. And I'm going to make sure in the blank above that I write down heavy lift. In this case, whatever you circled on page one, make sure you have that written in this blank, heavy lift. Then in the box, I'm going to look online for whatever rocket I chose and see a picture of it and sketch it for myself. In this case, Starship is long, it's huge, big rocket that can carry a lot of equipment and infrastructure. It can carry people, it can carry tons of mass. It is massive. So I chose this particular rocket. Now, in reality, maybe they'll pick a smaller one. I'm going to choose this one because I like this one. Okay? And I'm going to show its fins to control it. I'm trying to make an accurate picture of what my booster rocket looks like to get my science packed submarine off the ground and headed out to space to Europa. Show it blasting off, and notice on the picture it needs colors and details. It needs background. So give your launch location some background, markings, logos. The ship has more than just a few lines on it. Put the SpaceX logo in this case and make it look real. Then I'm going to research my Starship online and look up all the numbers, statistics. I'm going to describe it in one paragraph. Fill in all those blanks. Make sure you know what you're doing. Then consider the path through space. This is the trajectory. Back on page one, remember you circled on page one what kind of trajectory. This one, gravity assist trajectory. That's the one that my mission requires. Okay, gravity assist. Now I know. So next to number 5, I'm going to write that path, that trajectory. In this case, gravity assist. Whatever yours is, that's what you write down. Then I'm going to look it up online. What is a gravity assist trajectory? Describe it in a few sentences. And then in the box, I'm going to sketch what it actually looks like. I'm going to put the sun, in this case, for reference. Okay, because that's a good common frame of reference. And then I'm going to put orbiting around the sun. I would use a real circle, but this is just for a demonstration. I'm going to put the Earth. Okay, and then I'm going to put the next planet over will be between the Earth and Jupiter is Mars. Okay, so I'm going to create a little image of Mars there. And then my final destination is Jupiter. It's quite a bit larger, so I'll draw it quite a bit larger. And put the J for Jupiter. Now, with a different color, I'm going to show its path. First, it's going to launch from the Earth and orbit all the way around, and then get a boost from the Earth again, get a boost from Mars, and head out to Jupiter, a gravity assist. Now I know my pathway through space. But what I want you to do is make sure that your trajectory that you draw is accurate. Make it real, okay? Don't use just my example in this video. You have to make yours accurate, make it real, look it up, do your research. I will know if it's accurate, your drawing, if you did the research. If you just slop something down that you just made up, that's not going to get you there. Make it the real deal. Okay, let's move on to page 4. Part 4 is where you consider onboard support. Now, whether your mission is manned or unmanned, this is the part where you have to consider people, the air they need, the water, the power on board the ship. How do they stay fit? How do they have gravity? How do they shield themselves from radiation? How do they have personal spaces? And how do they communicate? All those things, describe them in a basic paragraph about how we do life support on a spaceship. And then for number two, decide what's the most important thing to keep your astronauts happy so they don't go crazy on the trip. Then we're going to do a final mission budget of the entire thing, taking parts from different pages. Remember back on page 2, your total mission budget. Okay. In this case, my mission pack was 101. Okay. The launch vehicle cost, that's something you researched on page 3, right? You look on page 3, you looked up one of the numbers you looked up, whatever your total was there, make sure you write down the total of that rocket booster in that location. Next, onboard support. Let's take a notional number of onboard support of all life support if you were doing life support. If you're unmanned, you can leave it blank. But let's say onboard life support, let's add another 100 million to the cost, even though it would actually be much higher. So you put down 100 for manned, 0 for unmanned. Okay. Then any extra costs you come up with on your own, that's up to you if you have any other costs. Total it up, write your total cost of the entire project. Okay. All right. Now the duration of your mission. This is where you consider the entire time frame. It's going to start with 5 years or 15. Mine happens to be unmanned, so I'm going to go with 5. And then I'm going to figure how many years it takes to get there. Okay, that's something you already researched. How much time am I going to spend there? I'll say 6 months for my submarine. 6 months is a really aggressive time frame, and it doesn't have to return, so there's no return. So I'm going to total up all those, come up with my total number of years, start to finish, for my whole mission. Then we finish our closing arguments. My friends, make these convincing, scientifically compelling, find the meaning. Don't just go to your location because you think it would be cool. That's not a justification. Everything has to fit. I want you to be very convincing, and then check to make sure nothing on any part is blank. Blanks cost you points. Make it complete, be thorough, don't leave anything incomplete. Okay. This has been a very, very quick overview of how you can succeed in pitching your big ideas for a mission in space. Make sure you write your name and a period on all 4 pages. Okay. That way, if one goes missing, it can find its way back to you. Okay. The due date, Friday the 6th of November. I don't take off points for lateness, but I do want you to get it done on time because we'll move on to other things with our next unit after that. Turn in all 4 of these pages together. Make sure that nothing is missing and nothing is left blank. Double check that. Okay. You can take pictures of your work and upload it into Canvas, or you can email me photos. That's fine. My address is down below. It's my normal school address. You can find it in the system. Or bring me a hard copy and show me your completed work in class. Okay. If you have questions, you can reach me in Canvas Messenger. Just right there in Canvas, send me a message, ask me a question. I'll answer to the best of my ability and have some fun with it. Okay? All right. Take care and enjoy.